Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on where you are.
Mhm.
Thanks for inviting us to speak about our glazing program at the Finishing Trades. We're located in Surrey, BC. We have been for glazing, it's been 2006, but we've been here since the early 90s doing the painting apprenticeship. So I am the director of training here at the Finishing Trades. I am a glazier. I've been a glazier for most of my life. My dad was a glazier, so I mean, I was a little kid. I was a glazier. Dad was hero glazier. I started my apprenticeship in the late '80s at BCIT. I've worked for several glazing companies in the Lower Mainland, and then in 2006, the finishing trades decided to take on glazing, the glazing apprenticeship. Um, so I was hired on. I helped build the program, and I was the instructor coordinator here until 2022 when I took on the role as director of training. So the FTI, what we are, the finishing trades, we're actually part of the Finishing Trades International, which is schools across Canada and in North America, all North America. But in BC, what we do is we train four trades. Actually, we could say five trades. In BC, in Surrey, we have trained the painting and decorating apprenticeship since the early 1990s. Um, since then, in the early 2000s, we also took on lather trade or wall and ceiling, and we also do drywall finishing. Of which Red Seal is a lather is a Red Seal trade, and we're in the works to see about getting the drywall finisher as a Red Seal trade as well. Um, but recently, we also do is we train hazardous material workers. So, in collaboration with WorkSafe BC, we recently created a certification for workers, which has been huge for workers in BC because it was really an unregulated trade. And as we all know, that hazardous materials, asbestos, and all that, it's extremely dangerous. So we now have and do train. We're the leader in training that trade as well in BC. Um, and then finally, the most important trade, I guess, for all of us would be glazing. So for that, I'll turn that over to Olmo. Olmo is well, I'll let him explain who he is, but we hired Olmo a couple of years ago, and he's my partner now, our partner. Go ahead, Olmo.
Thank you, Mark. Just before we get going here, just let me introduce myself and a bit of my background. Um, I've been glazing for as long as I can remember. I started from a heavy residential background, and then I got into the commercial background. Really got into curtain wall. I assisted in the installation of a lot of landmark towers in Vancouver itself. Just to say a few, like Shangri-La, Trump Tower, some of these landmark type of towers that take a lot of work. So that's been great. Now I have been the instructor and coordinator for the past 2 years, and I was actually a former student of Mark. So I've been part of this program. I was a student sitting here at one point. So let me get into the how it works here. So the FTI, right? We maintain and more importantly, build the glazing program for the betterment of all apprentices. Uh, and we try to give them a really great experience in their technical training that they receive here. Okay. We work hand in hand with Skilled Trades BC, building the glazer profile outline provincially and federally. Okay. Recently, we helped the harmonization of glazing apprenticeship at the Red Seal level. What this means, in order for all the provinces to be aligned when it comes to technical content and at the certain levels. So if a apprentice decides to do school in Ontario or Nova Scotia, they can bounce back through provinces, do a level one, do a level two, and be on the same page. Before that wasn't the case, right? Some students would suffer. They would do something in Alberta and come here and be at a loss. So that's something that's really great. We also assisted in Skilled Trades BC in the creation of the new Red Seal Occupational Standard, also known as the RSOS. It formerly was known as the NOA, the National Occupational, but now it's the RSOS. We participated in the Red Seal exam workshop, And that red seal exam actually was implemented in December 2023, so just recently. I'm also happy to say that we are providing training to all apprentices in BC. We have students from Fort St. John's, as far as Nanaimo and all parts of Vancouver Island, the interior, Kelowna, Pemberton. You know, I've had a student from the Yukon and people from Alberta. So we service a wide region, right? And what we try to do is we try to make it as simple as possible when it comes to participation for all apprentices. It's as simple as a phone call. That's our policy. We make it that way. Sometimes all you got to do is just phone us in if it's the sponsor or the employer or the apprentice themselves. And what we do is we direct them to our administrator of admission, basically. His name is Brent Barthol, and he gets them signed up, tells them the steps. So we try to make it as easy as possible. And we get them to register with Skilled Trades BC. So as you know, they're the main guys when it comes to the registration of all apprentices. Once they get registered, we get them in as soon as possible, right? Now, the journey for a journey person to an apprentice from the beginning to the very end is as follows. We have 3 terms of training, okay? Each term is technical training of 180 hours. So that means it works out to being 6 weeks, full-time, Monday to Friday, just like you would to a job. So the key is here is the student goes to work for a year, gets some hands-on training, some mentorship. Then they come to technical training to make sure that they're at a certain competency level, okay? Upon the completion of all 3 of their terms, they're eligible to take their Red Seal exam, okay? And additionally, they have worked probably at an average or at a standard, at the limit, 6,700 hours, okay? Which works out to being 4 years. So that's why we say it's a 4-year apprenticeship. And they write their Red Seal exam and they get their journey person ticket. So let me go into a little detail, step by step, level 1, 2, and 3. We'll start with level 1. So to go into a little more detail, level 1, the apprentices actually achieve a number of safety certifications. Just to name a few, we're talking about fall protection, first aid, swing stage, good certifications, safety certifications that they will use on the field, okay? Level 1 has a lot of fundamental and vital knowledge of most commercial glazing systems. They spend about 60% in class and 40% in the shop, right? So they get a good mix, theory and practical. Now, level 2, that is the meat and bones of a program. It's very shop oriented. Students get it right at it. We teach them from the ground up, creating their own shop drawings to fabrication and then installation. The installations of various commercial systems, entranceways, all, just to say a few, you know, storefront doors, curtain wall, strip window, we go through quite a bit. We also try to have them complete the various projects to a high standard with set timelines, so they understand that. In level 3, we have students now take a deep dive into blueprints, specifications, layout of specialty glass, residential, and understanding the servicing of all glazing systems. Upon completion of the 3rd year of the 3rd level, they're eligible to take their Red Seal exam on their final day. So, our program's goal is to fill gaps of their apprenticeship and give them the knowledge and hands-on experience to become successful glaziers out in the real world. We have a couple mottos here, okay? We like to say to them, if you make a mistake here, you can learn from it, so you don't make a mistake out there. We provide them with all the tools, equipment, and materials, right, for all our apprentices to build projects. We focus that our apprentices have punctuality, preparedness, and most importantly, a really great attitude. We show them what it takes to be successful out in the real world. And that right there is a good summarization of what we do here, right? Now we have a full service shop. You know, if you go online, you can actually see pictures of our shop. It's quite a bit of square footage, anything from a glass table to production lines, areas for installation. We're actually always building more things. We have a space outside where we're trying to build more of a curtain wall unitized aspect, because I was on the field and sometimes these jobs are coveted. You don't get the experience of installing curtain wall unitized especially. So we're giving them as many experiences as they can. So we try, like I said, fill the gaps, right? So right there, that's basically our program in short term. Now, I invite you, if you guys like to come check us out, give us a call. We can arrange in time. You can check our facility, check our classrooms, and see. We actually, if you come by, it doesn't look as big as it really is. It's a big shop. Our doors are open to all apprentices, right? So please feel free to call me. I think Terry probably has my information, contacts. Give me a shout and we can make it happen. Now that's pretty much it. All I have to say.
If I'll just quickly expand upon what Olmo said. We are 40,000 square feet with all of our trades. And what we do here, what we like to do, I've always been an advocate for, is our different trades, we get to work together. We have our painting apprenticeship trade where we'll actually get the glaziers, we'll go into the painting department and they'll install doors, they'll install frames and doors for their mock-ups, and they have to work together. It's one of the things that we're able to do is to integrate all of our different trades together. And so that's really beneficial so that it actually becomes more real world than just focusing on your one trade. You have to work with other trades. We have the drywall finisher. We have the lather or the wall and ceiling. So they can build mock-ups to whatever we want, whatever we need. They can build them. We want certain openings. We want curved walls. We want radius walls. We can get all of that built. So we're able to really utilize all of our, well, like Momo said, from the outside, it doesn't look huge, but when you get in, the biggest comment is always, wow, it's so much bigger in here than it looks from outside. So again, if feel free, if you'd like to come have a visit, if you have any questions, please contact myself or contact Olmo, call the finishing trades. So if you have any questions, by all means, ask Olmo or myself now or later.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I was actually jotting down thoughts as they came to me while you were speaking. I'm going to start actually with I see that Rick put a comment in. Just got to find it here. Hang on. Where's my chat comments? Come on.
I got it. I got it. So are you guys the same as, yeah, you got it?
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
So are you guys the same as SAIT in Alberta, what in Alberta offers?
Through the harmonization, I believe we should be.
Yeah. So SAIT is a lot like a BCIT, right? SAIT and NAIT, they're much like a BCIT. We're more private. We're a private school, but yes. So we follow the British Columbia outline that you can find on Skills Trades BC. If you go to their website, you'll find all the Red Seal trades. Well, you'll find all the trades, but if you look under Glazier, there will be a spot where it will tell you the Glazier outline, the provincial outline. So we have, as Olmo was saying, we worked with Skilled Trades to harmonize it right across Canada, Ontario, Alberta, all of the provinces follow the same outline. Are mandated to.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. So yeah, that was actually one of my questions, was the curriculum across the country. So the curriculum in BC is with Skilled Trades BC, if I understood that right. So there could be some slight variation, or is that curriculum the same curriculum delivered nationally?
It should be the same. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead.
Through the harmonization program, that was the whole objective there. So we all are on the same plane.
So they have the RSOS. They have the RSOS that they harmonized. What we did in British Columbia, and I worked with, and Olmo, we worked with, particular Jennifer, who because British Columbia is the host province for glazing. So we took the RSOS that was completed. There was workshops in Ottawa where many people, some of you maybe, I'm not sure, were invited. It was invited straight across the glazing industry from all provinces to attend. And I believe in the RSOS that you can find on there, it will list the names of people who were invited to create this outline for Canada. And what we did was we took that Canadian outline and we paralleled it with our provincial outline. And every province was mandated to do the same. Can I tell you 100% that they did? No, I don't know. But that's what was mandated. And I'm pretty sure that they did. I mean, that was what's supposed to happen. So it is harmonized, now it's complete.
So a journey person certified in Ontario, would that certification be valid in BC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it crosses the country. Okay, that's great. So again, I made a few notes. They're not in any particular order, so bear with me. So you talked about each course, each level being 180 hours. The level 1, 2, and 3, do they run at the same time, or do you guys base it on, bums in seats that are registered, or is there a schedule? So if I want to start level 1, I have to be, coming in April or whatever that is. Is there a set schedule for these levels?
Yes, we do try to do a set schedule based on demand.
Okay.
If we see that there's an increase of a need for level 2, we'll do more level 2s. And then they come in waves, right? We have a batch of apprentices that come, and we kind of chase the wave as just for lack of better terms.
Sure. Okay. And you kind of got into it a bit, but I didn't totally capture it. A prerequisite list to get in, like, can anybody come and say, I'm going to start level 1, or do you have to be in the industry for X number of hours, or
what you need to be is a registered apprentice with Skilled Trades BC.
Okay.
Right. And then to be a registered apprentice, you'd have to have a sponsor. It's either your employer or a mentor, being a Red Seal journey person, because that's the whole thing. It's an apprenticeship that goes with mentorship. You're learning on the field, right? So I tell people, it's like you learn and you earn.
So a kid coming out of high school, for example, he really needs to get employment with a glazing company or a sponsor or whatever that looks like. They're not just getting out of high school and going, hey, I'm going to go to FTI and start level 1.
It is preferred. It is preferred to get a bit of experience, because it becomes more, it gives the student more of a higher success rate, because they can kind of relate to what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Currently, most of the apprentices in level 1, they've been in the industry for a year, and that's not by us saying that's a prerequisite. That just seems to be the norm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody that came right off the street would be difficult, very difficult for that person to catch up to speed with the other 15, if you will, that have been in the industry for a while. But no, there's no set prerequisite.
Yeah. Okay. I see that Jim Brady had a question. I'm seeing on the bottom some text questions. Should I answer those right away, or should we have
Rich, do you mind grabbing the chat and just commenting to any questions?
And Rick, you had a question. Maybe let's
sure.
Do you want to comment now, Rick?
Sure. So I guess what I would have to do is, well, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm up in the Yukon. I'd have to go and get registered with the apprenticeship program in the Yukon first, right? And then send my guy down?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have a guy here that's been in the industry, has been working with us for 5 years, is there a way that he can challenge level 1 or level 2 or something like that? Or does he have to start right at level 1 again?
Well, now, to be honest, I find the most successful apprentices attend level 1, do the whole, do their time and go through the process. When it comes to challenging, I find the students, it's for the benefit not to challenge.
Yeah.
But if you look at Skilled Trades BC, there are routes you can take, but it's never a good idea, because they lose a lot of that practical, fundamental competency that we try to instill from level 1. To get into details here, as simple as countersinking. We have a countersinking challenge to say, how well can you countersink? Now a person it's all depending on the work-based hours. Like here in the Lower Mainland, we have bigger towers, so a person can sometimes do 1,000 hours just doing air seal, and then they come here and go, okay, let's install a door, and they go, I've never installed a door. So that's where we promote trying to get a student from level 1, 2, and 3.
We just recently had somebody that happened to get in through challenge, and when they were done, which struggled big time, we're done, said, I wish I'd have never done that.
Yeah.
It was just in the last class, said, I wish I'd never done that. What the thing is that a lot of people think that they have the experience, and then they find out that level 1, 2, 3, they build on each other.
Exactly.
Right? They really do. And without level 3 or pardon me, without level 1 or level 2, it's very difficult for somebody to be successful in level 3.
Yeah.
It just is. So no, it's a 1, 2, 3. That's how we create success.
And that's what we're trying about. We're trying to have successful apprentices, right? You don't want to come here in level 3 and then be, you know, you're not going to just have great success. You're just not.
Terry,
Okay,
did you
is there
want me
anything else,
to read the questions in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Jim that who's asking, when was the RSOS harmonized and who was involved? Is there a practical exam with the Red Seal exam, or is it just multiple choice? So I guess these are two separate.
I'll answer the last two. You want to start with the RSOS there, Mark?
The RSOS, so the NOA or the RSOS is done approximately every 5 years. So it was just done, I believe the last date with it would be probably 2020. I think it started in 2019, 2018, but it was completed basically last year in 2023. And they do it every 5 years. They look at they look at the outline federally, and then they also look at the exam itself, and then it gets redone, whether it gets revamped or whether it gets updated. But they look at that I want to say every 5 years, but there's a lot of trades, so it may happen every 5 to 7 years. So the last time it was done, I'd have to honestly look at the date. I can't. It was 2012, and then I think the last one was closer to 2020. But it just got finalized because harmonization was just December of 2023, where everything was done. All the exams are implemented, and the Red Seal exam was just implemented. They just wrote it. So
now, can I get a repeat on the other question about the practical, or just a little repeat?
Yeah, give me a second. So was it the first one or the second one you wanted to?
Sure, the first one there, yeah.
The RSOS harmonized?
No.
Sure.
No, it's the other one.
Is
Okay, so the second one. So is there a practical exam? Yeah.
Is the Red Seal just a multiple choice? Yes.
Yeah.
Red Seal on the final day of the final level is a
multiple choice. Yeah.
The practical comes from 3 years of going to school.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. It's so from level 1, it's a blended mark, right? They get 70% is achieved in shopping classroom. And then the other 30% is their provincial exam, right? It's a blended mark. And we do that again for level 2, blended when they achieve practical, and I mark them, and I'm very crucial on them to make sure they have a certain standard on level 2. And then the same thing with level 3, where they have to achieve projects.
Sorry, Olmo. So each level has a written exam at the end, is that correct?
Yes. Each level will have a provincial standard exam.
Yep.
So they'll do 70%, like I said, is achieved with classroom and shop projects.
Yep.
Where I evaluate them and make sure that they're at a certain competency. And then they'll achieve the other 30% with their provincial exam. And same thing with level 2. And then level 3, it's upon completion of level 3. My tests, my practical tests, you know, and then I evaluate them. And then if I see that they're at a certain competency, if they're at that journey person level, then they're eligible to write the exam.
So a level 3 exam is the final journey person certification exam.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right, because then at that point they have gotten their 6,700 working hours, right? 4 years. and they come to class and they show me that they have journey person's technical skills, and then they can write their exam.
Okay, great.
Just for the record, the level 1 exam on the final day, the level 2 exam, those are administered, invigilated provincially, not by us. And then the
Okay.
final exam is invigilated by Skills Trades BC, again, from an outsource, not us.
Okay, good. Is there another question there in the chat?
Sorry, I was muted. There's a follow-up question from Jim who's saying, so in Saskatchewan where they do not have an in-person course, they can enter as an apprentice, prove their hours, and then write the Red Seal, and and does that make them a journey person after?
So just to answer that question, there are just a higher hours. I believe it's on average about almost 10,000 hours of working. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. Is it 10,000?
Used to be 9,600. I believe it's 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours working, and then upon approval of
And-
the sponsor too, right? Their sponsor, they have to get approval from them, and then they're eligible to write the Red Seal exam.
But there's two things that you will get at the end. You will get certificate of apprenticeship, and you'll get certificate of Red Seal or certification. If you challenge, you get certificate of Red Seal, not certificate of apprenticeship.
Okay, yep, makes sense.
So upon finishing FTI, you get 2 certifications through Skilled Trades BC.
Gotcha.
If you challenge,
Okay.
you get 1 if you're successful.
Okay. Is there another question there, Steph?
Not yet, no. Well, one just
Okay,
yeah, we have
so
Otto that just
I like
Otto
this
just
one.
wrote one. What types of measuring techniques and technologies are taught and practiced?
Well, we start with the fundamentals, right? Everything from the dumpy level, horizontal level, builder's level, I mean. And then, we do have some theodolites that we like to throw around just to show them the fundamentals of theodolites. And we basically start from the basics, elevating frames, leveling things off, and then going off grid lines, laying things off grid lines and control lines. And so it starts from the fundamental, and then we take it to the next level.
okay.
We have another one. Assessment of chances glacier trade will be made mandatory anywhere in
I
Canada.
like this question. We're in the process provincially to get mandated here in the province of BC, which I think would be great for the trade as a whole. But I believe that is controlled provincially. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so again, just plowing through some of the thoughts that I had while you were talking. What's your typical class sizes?
We have class sizes of 16.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's capped at 16?
Yes.
Okay. And Olmo, are you the only current instructor, or is there others?
Currently, yes.
You're the one doing the work. Okay. Talking about testing, just wondering if you have any data on pass-fail criteria, or pass-fail numbers that you guys achieve.
Well,
Are we talking Red Seal?
Yes, of course. Get to the end.
Yeah, they're good. I would say over the history of, we would probably be pushing around. I'm gonna throw a number that's fairly accurate. I'd say around 85%.
That's where the number I'm with.
I would say about 85%.
And do you guys see that once you've got somebody into the program, most of these guys go to the end, or do you see guys dropping out in level 1 and you never see them again?
No, I see that. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Dropping out. Well, we don't track all apprentices because we can't.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to see, because I was doing it for 15 years. It's hard for me to remember somebody if they don't come back. So I can't necessarily, unless we're their sponsor, I don't know. So I couldn't really give you an accurate number.
Okay.
A majority do, yes, they do.
Yeah, I know. I find that for the last couple of years working here, there's a certain aptitude that Glaziers have, a certain pride. They want to finish. They want to be here. So I haven't had students want to drop out. They just want to keep coming back. They like it
Okay,
here.
great.
Yeah.
Do you have any information on funding sources for guys that want to get into this and go through the program?
That's you, Mark.
Funding sources for the
Yeah, like
apprentice.
is there any provincial, student
Work,
funding
work,
or?
Work BC.
Yeah.
Work BC, once they get set up, after 2 weeks of a waiting period, they will get employment insurance. And Work BC help. What they cover is, and it changes, but they will cover things like daycare for men and women. They will cover travel costs. That can be a matter of whether it's ferry travel here and there, gas mileage. They will cover a number of things. They will cover a portion of people. Somebody said Yukon. If they came down, they will cover a portion of their living out or rent that they incur while they're here. I would have to give you a better. I don't have the exact data on what all but they cover quite a bit.
So, okay, so because the government is always talking about, making money available for training and that, somebody that is getting into the program looking for financial support, is that something that you guys can guide them through, or do they need to?
We do. We actually have Service Canada come in, level one,
excellent.
and they run them through the ringer of how to get EI and talk about the grants they can get. I believe there's a grant upon completion that they get is $1,000 from the government, taxable, of course, through level 1 and 2. And then I believe upon completion at the third level, Red Seal, they get a grant of $2,000. There's also loans that they make them aware of.
So the loan itself is actually a little more to elaborate on. So it's a government loan. It's a no interest loan. It's not due until the end of the apprenticeship. So again, the loan is something that we push a lot of the times, with a warning. I mean, it is there. Well, it is there for you. Well, it's there for you. Whenever I'm saying it, I'll say, if you think that money is going to be an issue for you, apply for the loan. It doesn't take very long. I believe it's within 2 weeks you can get the loan and put it off to the side.
Some students say it takes 2 days and they get it within 2 days.
Put it off to the side and pay it back right away if you can, if you don't need it. But sometimes, because one of the worst things that I've had happen is that when people are in school and they run out of money on week 5, because I'm not going to naysay on things, but EI can be difficult if a certain T is not crossed. That can take weeks before that comes. So yes, there are other things, and the loan is $4,000. That's very simple to get for most people. Most people do not get denied of it. So that helps. And then again, like I say, almost said, we bring in Work BC. They help. They talk to them day 1 of the class. Service Canada, and we also have skills trades come in. So we have all of them come in and talk to them to answer any of the questions for them.
Yeah, right. The students find that really helpful. Really helpful.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, Steph, any other questions there?
So yeah, we have Patrick that just has a follow-up comment that he says Ontario is now covering tools and travel. He thinks so. And we have Jeff asking, do you have partners in Ontario who you work with for Glaziers to do training?
Say that again.
If you guys do have partners in Ontario,
yes, we do.
Work with Glaziers.
I do have a partner in there. Stephanie is her name, and we actually come in contact with each other. We share information back and forth. It's FTI Ontario, and we do work hand in hand together sometimes. For instance, like we had a student with some transcripts issues, so I reached out to her, said, "Hey, can you find me this information?" Presto bingo, she got me the information, and we got them going.
As for the tools question, tough to answer. We have recently Work BC. We have had newer apprentices that come in. We've actually just started working with them to see about getting tools. So I can't accurately answer that tools question. It hasn't happened yet for glazing.
Yeah, Patrick, I think you meant like that's what you think's happening right now, right? In Ontario?
Yeah, they have
the black sheep.
put in
Paulie, can you mute yourself, Paul?
And then you gotta own all that scope, so anything service related is going your way, right? Any little adjustment.
Oh,
Can you mute him, Isabel?
mute.
Yeah.
Got it. He got it.
There we go. Thanks.
Yeah, no, Ontario is, I think, doing grants similar to what you guys described when you complete. And then they also brought out I think another $1,000 for tools, and I believe travel costs covered as well. Also, FTI Ontario has at least 2 locations, maybe a third. I'm not sure if George Brown is counting as a third now, or if that's their own thing. But yeah, we love you guys out here as well.
Okay, great. Anything else there, Steph?
Was that directed at me and Olmo?
I'll take the call.
I'll take it.
Yeah, no, there's nothing in the chat right now.
I just had
Okay,
a quick question. Any recommendations for like a little bit more specific training? Say we've had some glass fabricators say, you know, getting people up to speed in the glass fabricate side, or we're fabricating doors. Like, do you have resources for someone to really kind of get up to speed in those specific areas?
So resources of like self-help or?
Well, I mean, should they go through your program? Do you have another program they could do?
So there's a couple things that I do. So I'm a bit of a different glazier background than Olmo. Mine was, like I said, since I was a little kid. So I fabricated glass. I was a glass cutter. I cut glass on the side of the truck. So I couldn't take that out of the apprenticeship. So I still teach about cutting glass, cutting mirror, drilling holes. I know that we don't do that out in the field as much in a commercial aspect, but in a service aspect, big time, we still do. It still happens. So we keep it in there.
So we get, just to elaborate, like for instance, right now my level 2 students are making a side light and they have to cut their own glass. Give them their stock sheets, they know their measurements, and they cut at it. Even when it comes to mirror wall, get them to you know, notch out holes for those electrical outlets. So they have a lot of glass experience, because you never know if you're working for a company servicing. Maybe you have to trim down a mirror or cut your bone off a van.
Yeah.
Does that include making it not? Go ahead, Otto.
I would suggest that even though glass cutting is not a big thing in commercial glazing for the glaziers in the field, it's still excellent experience to learn the properties of glass. Right? Yeah. Like when you're handling it, you understand how it breaks and all sorts of things when you're able to cut.
We actually have a magnificent glass table. Like it's an air table that tilts 90 degrees. I think Mark bought it from BCIT way back. You know, that's a big thing. And even for me as a coordinator instructor, you know, getting glass for them on a constant basis so they can cut it. And that's something that they really enjoy. They actually take home projects and little things like, and we also have an air blasting little art decorating thing when they actually get to make their own little projects. They like that a lot. They make coasters, designs, heart shapes. they like that a lot.
When they have their free fun time, which is a little bit of that, just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Now, in order to make a skylight, do they make their own IG as well, or?
Yes, we do. You know, I have spacer bars. I get them to make their own IGs. You know, get them filled with descant. It's it's a pretty well-rounded program when it comes to that.
What about
like
new trends like bird-friendly glazing and dynamic glass and, you know, those types of things that are on the up and rise?
Well, we do talk about the new like electrical matte glass, and that's up in our rise. We do talk about that. You know, we have one of our I reached out to View Glass. They're from Seattle. They supply us some products sometimes, and there's anytime there's something new, you know, we try to get it so they can see what's new, what's out there. We try to stay as modern as possible. That's something that's my directive. That's where I come in. Like I said, when Mark said his background was with doors and servicing, glass cutting. Me, I'm from the new world. You know, I'm big on rigging and crane work and bigger towers.
Last year.
Huh?
Put me on the pasture.
Yeah, well, you know, that's one thing, and you know, rigging was as a new thing for Glaziers because the size of glass is gone huge. Architects are pushing the envelope. Sorry, but my students are going back at it, so you might hear cutting here.
No worries.
Yeah.
Okay, just one more from me. I did look at the curriculum a number of years ago, and there was a little bit of content on residential installation in wood stick frame Part 9 type buildings. Do you still teach any of that, or is any
It's
residential
increased.
installation?
It's increased. Residential has increased, so we do have a bigger residential section now. It has
Okay,
increased through the level 1, 2, and 3 because we can't. Like I said, I come from a residential background. You know,
Yeah.
that's where I come from. So that's something that I
Yeah.
was really
Is
happy
that
to
so a follow-up on that, is that driven by more commercial products making their way into Part 9 smaller homes, like Part 9, not smaller homes, but single family homes with large curtain wall or large facades?
It's a little bit of both. It's about that, yes, you're having people that want curtain wall in their home, and
Yeah.
with all the rebates given to homeowners for
Okay.
energy efficient windows.
Well,
So
it was driven by the RSOS. So when that was originally created 5 years ago, I believe FNBC, they had some representatives, and that's when it was put in, more residential was put in. So again, the RSOS and the provincial outline, they contain the residential portions, and we follow the outlines.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all I've got. So I don't know if there's anybody else, other questions there, Steph?
You touch fiberglass at all?
Oh, yeah.
No,
fiberglass frame?
Yeah.
no.
We
sorry.
try not to.
Well,
We
we don't. I haven't.
Polyvinyl PVC frames, you know, that's what we get into. Thermally broken frames. We do have some examples of fiberglass plate and cap. Sorry, plate. So
Okay. So
it's
they can
out
see
there.
it.
It's out there.
But, yeah.
You know,
Great.
we do indulge in level 3 about big thermally broken units and knowing the regions. You know,
I've always had a good open ear, and now Olmo does too, to a company. So you said to me, "Hey, do you do anything with fiberglass?" No, we don't. Would you be open to it? Sure, but if that's the trend, even though it's not in the outline, and if an apprentice needs to know it, then we're open to it. It would just be a matter of, I'd go back and say, "Hey, Rick, Brent, maybe you could help us out in what, where, and some product."
yeah.
So I would throw it back to you. Sure, we could do something, but
Yeah, good. Otto, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just I was going to ask if there's anything with CNC fabrication equipment.
No, we don't do any CNC fabrication here. We do have fabrication, routers and saws, but no, we don't do any CNC application here. No.
a little bit old school. I still teach them how to do, or I don't, but we still kind of go into cut lists and understanding a bit of the mathematical sense of it. I believe that's still beneficial, is knowing how to figure a cut list, not a massive one, but a cut list, how to do it manually. No,
That's part of the whole, when I said from level 2, like from the ground up, when they're doing their shop drawings, understanding cut lists and quantities and something that's pretty big.
But Otto, if you could supply us with the CNC machine, Otto,
We would love one.
we're in.
Yeah, no, I just, obviously I agree that setting things up manually, you have to understand what you're doing manually before you can do it in an automated condition. But these days, a lot of shops have, a fair amount of CNC machinery, and if you're not familiar with it at all, it might be.
A lot of my students are telling me that now there's just a computer program that has a catalog of thousands of Windows systems. You just punch in your needs and it cuts it out for you. Sometimes you're like, okay, so the computer does my work for me. Well, let's get back to the fundamentals and have you be the computer.